The following is a rebroadcast of a program that has previously aired as part of WGNU's St. Louis Urban Forum. Our listener response lines are currently closed. Please consult www.wgnu920am.com for our complete schedule of programs. Make sure to tune in, call in, and be a part of the radio station that is working to improve our great city. We thank you for tuning in to WGNU's St. Louis Urban Forum.
At WGNU, we recognize there are a number of opinions, theologies, and interpretations of Scripture within the Christian community. The views expressed by any program aired on WGNU are those of the speaker and are not necessarily endorsed by the ownership, management, or staff of WGNU 920 AM. If you have any concerns regarding any statements made during our broadcast day, please refer questions to the program's host. We thank you for making WGNU 920 AM part of your day.
It's real. It's relevant. It's life. It's the Power for Living Show with the Empowerment Doctor, Torri L. Anthony.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to the Power for Living radio show, where I, the Empowerment Doctor, Torri L. Anthony, is your host. I'd like to welcome you to today's show, Ladies First. I know you've heard our show titled, we've had a couple shows about First Ladies, and I just messed up the name of the show, so the people sitting in the studio looking at me like I'm crazy, but hey. So we're going to bring our guest, and she'll be able to give you the proper name of her book. Sinita Wells is going to tell you what her book is all about, how she came up with the title, and where the book came from. She's a life coach and an author. I'm so excited to have a life coach on the show today. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and give you the call-in number because, again, she's a life coach. She might be able to give you some good information that'll help you out in your life. The phone number is 314-880-0808. Again, that's 314-880-0808. So I'm going to let her introduce the title of the book, and that's also the title of today's show, and then we're going to go from there.
Thank you so much, Torri, for having me. Again, my name is Sinita Wells, and the title of the book is I Am a Woman First, The Essentials to Nurturing, Inspiring, and Loving Yourself First. And it will be out on Amazon.com in the next few weeks.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty excited about that. And the essentials of the book really is my core message when I'm delivering I Am a Woman First is all about when mama's happy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So when mama's happy, everybody's happy. Mm-hmm. And in order to be happy, mother to be happy, then she has to take time out for herself. And as women, a lot of times we do not put ourselves at the top of our to-do list,
Wow. It's funny that you say that because me and my wife struggle with that issue all the time because being the man that I am, I like to cater because my mother raised me. My father got killed when I was 2, so I was raised by my mother and my grandmothers, and so it's in my nature now to cater to females, the way that they catered to me. So I'm used to, buying and doing for them. But my wife, on the other hand, she likes to do everything for everybody else and then never do for herself or buy for herself. So like we'll be in the store and I just want to make sure you have this. I just want to make sure the kids have that. And then I say, but what about you? I'm not worried about you. And I believe what you just said is so true. If you don't take out, because even in my mind, I feel sometimes like she's missing out on something in life because I don't see how you could be happy making sure everybody else is happy and you're not doing nothing for yourself. So how did you get to that place?
Well, it started with me with my mom. So I am the oldest of 4, and my mother was a single mother. Okay. And so with her, watching her raise us and then watching my baby sister once my baby sister grew up, and she's the last of the Mohicans, my mother was sitting there twiddling her thumbs, like, okay, what do I do with my life? What do I do next? You know, and I really learned at an early age, because my background, Torri, is that I had a baby at 16 years old, and I was a single mother of 2 by the age of 20. And so watching my mother and stepping into the mother role when my mother was working, because she was a single mother, stepping into that role a lot of times, raising my sisters, when I had my children, I knew that I had to take time out for me, because I would really watch my mother do a lot, you know, struggling to provide for us, you know, struggling to, you know, maintain a household, struggling to make sure we go into cheerleading practice or whatever, you know, sport we're involved in. And she really never took time out for herself. So when I had my kids, I think probably about 18 really is when I kind of knew that, you know, I provided for my kids. I gave them everything that they needed, but I knew the importance of taking care of me even at an early age. And I think probably because it started early for me, you know, being a single mom, and then prior to that, raising my own, you know, helping raise my sisters. So I took on a lot of responsibility at that time. And so I just knew that, you know, in order for me to be okay, in order for my kids to be okay, because that's really what it's about. You cannot give your everything to everybody else and you have nothing, you know.
So from listening to what you're saying, it's more like this is not just a book, but this is a power movement for women.
Yes.
To empower them, which is why we have this show, because we try to empower everybody, but to empower women to know that at the end of the day, after you've done everything for everybody else, there needs to be a period of rest and relaxation for you. There needs to be some place that you can go, a hideaway to get away and realize and come back to knowing who you are, or, you know, so that you can go on. Because believe it or not, even though you're doing everything you can do every day, because you've established that type of relationship, they're looking for you tomorrow morning to wake up and do the same exact thing
over again,
over and over and over again. So even at the age of 16, had you already come to the mindset that you knew that you still needed time for yourself?
Yeah, I think I realized it, like I said, when I was about 18 years old, after, you know, my daughter was 2 years old, and my girlfriend, she had a son afterwards. And what I noticed with her was everything was about him. About him. And that's fine. You know, my kids did not go for, you know, want for anything. And as they grew up and became adults, my daughter now is 23 and my son is 19. You know, my daughter was like, oh, we were spoiled. We had everything. I was like, oh, y'all did? But then my job was done. You know, I didn't, you know, even though there was times where I was going crazy, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I providing for them? Am I giving, you know, they felt like they, you know, didn't have to ask for anything or want anything. So at 18 years old and throughout, I just realized that, okay, I can't, you know, continue to be my best for them if I'm not my best for me. And I think that what we do, you know, as what your wife do and a lot of women do, is that we continue to give from our cup.
Wow.
Instead of filling up the cup to give from the overflow.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you continue to take out of your cup, but your cup is your cup. Your cup is for you. Wow. The overflow is for everybody else.
Wow.
And I think that that's what women don't realize. Now, we know that we're supposed to take care of ourselves. We know that, but we don't do it. And I think that the I Am a Woman First movement, for me, I call it a movement because I think that women are realizing it and we're taking slow steps to do it, you know, but I think that we need to be pushed more to say, okay, you know what, let me just take it. And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be a manicure, it can be a pedicure, it can be, let me take this half hour and go read in the library, you know, let me take this little time to go take a walk in the park. Whatever it is that's going to take you out of your everyday mundane environment, you know, is what I Am a Woman First is about.
Let's talk about something. You said something that I liked. You said the overflow is for everybody else, but your cup is your cup. Well, let's talk about that. Can you talk about how do you fill your cup back up? Where do you go to fill your cup up? And how do you know if your cup is half full, if it's almost empty? How do you know that? And then what are the tools that you use to fill your cup back up? Do you go away and stay gone for a while? Do you just put a little in? See, because it's almost like with the car, you know, there are some people that keep their car on full, and then there are some people that say, I'm only going to put $10 in here. And then there's some people that say, I'm going to wait till it get all the way down to E. And then you barely making it. And you'll find that with a lot of women, they'll wait till they all the way on E, barely making it, can't move forward. And then they trying to make it to the service station. And when they get to the service station, they too broke down. Because not only now have you ran out of gas, you've messed up your engine, you've messed up other parts of your car.
Exactly.
And that's what we're finding more and more with women. They keep going, and never putting anything back in. So can you help our ladies?
And that's a good analogy. Like you said, you know, you putting in $10 and you getting down to E. And the difference between the two of a full tank and $10 is the person with $10 is always stressing.
Wow.
You know, they're always stressing.
Wow.
They're trying to, I got to get to the gas station. You know, they're worried about getting to the gas station for the next fill up, the next $10 fill up versus the person who's on full. That's on full. They rolling, they doing, you know, they let their tank get down to a half a tank and then we're going to go fill it back up. You know, so I think that what women have to do, like I said, sometimes it's just taking time out a few minutes, even if it's a few minutes. You know, in the book I have 8 ways that moms can woosah on a budget.
Wow.
And one of those things that you can do as a mother, we come home and the kids come home from school and they hear your car keys or the keys in the door. The first thing they do is run to you. Mama, I got this. Mama, can you sign this? Mama, can you? One of the things that you can do is teach them, give me 30 minutes. Just give me 30 minutes to unwind and mama will answer all your questions. Mama will talk about your day. Mama will do whatever it is that mama needs to do for you. But give me 30 minutes. You know, so that's one of the things that you can teach your children. But it's really all about you deciding. Like for myself, me and my girlfriends, we take a diva escape trip every year. Okay, we not taking no babies. We not taking no husbands, boyfriends. We just going to go and woosah.
Wow.
You know, so it's several ways that women can take time out. But the thing is, you have to decide what fits you.
Right.
You know, make a decision that, okay, if I understand that I need to be at the top of my to-do list, what does that mean for me? If it's a diva escape trip, if it's teaching my kids to give me 30 minutes, if it's, you know, my favorite dessert, you know, just for me, you know, not for me and the kids, just for me. You know, so it really is a decision that we have to make as women because we are natural nurturers.
Right.
That is our job. That's what we're created to do, to give life, nurture life.
So are you saying that you have to decide, I don't want to say love you because I think most women love themselves.
Not all. That's not true.
You might be true.
That is not true.
That might be true too.
You know, loving yourself, to me, this is my opinion, when you love yourself, you know that you are important.
That's
okay.
True. That's true.
Now, it's not to say that you hate yourself, you know, and really some women, my best friend, her joy is making sure that her family's okay, is what she tells me. But what I see is a different story. Because to me, she seems broke down and wore out and tired. But she say, my joy is, you know, making sure my kids are okay, making sure my family is okay. And some women are okay with that. But to me, loving yourself means that you know that you have to take time out for you. As simple as that. You cannot continue to give from an empty cup. You know, the math don't add up.
Right.
How can you give 110% when you're running on 10%?
Wow. And then you said something else earlier. You said that a person that's only putting $10 worth of gas in is always stressing. And it's almost to say that, because I found this with a lot of women, they'll buy the best for their kids, make sure their kids got on all the name brands, and then they'll go buy them some $5 shoes, $10 shoes. And 2 weeks later, you talking about my shoes ran over, I done got a hole in it.
Because you didn't put in the quality.
You didn't put in the quality, but everybody else is getting your quality.
Absolutely. And that is absolutely true. I mean, I don't want anybody to misunderstand that I'm saying neglect your kids. And, you know, when they need something, then you say, okay, no, I'm just going to go get my nails done. I'm not going to wear it. No, provide what they need, but also put aside something for you, you know, because you just can't do it.
Right.
You know, and we as women, we continue to believe that we can continue to give and give and give and give and give until you have nothing else to give. But you are not creating the best environment for everybody else. Because at some given point in time, you're going to break down.
That's correct.
Some given point in time, you are stressing. And the thing about kids is kids are very innate. They pay attention. Kids don't
You are listening to a rebroadcast of a program that has previously aired as a part of WGNU's St. Louis Urban Forum. Our listener response lines are currently closed. Please consult www.wgnu920am.com for our complete schedule of programs. Make sure to tune in, call in, and be a part of the radio station that is working to improve our great city. We thank you for tuning in to WGNU's St. Louis Urban Forum on 920 AM.
Go on a lot of words. They can go on emotion because they're very in tune with that. Kids are very in tune with intuition and how mama's feeling. It's just like being in a messed up marriage and you think I'm gonna stay because of the kids, and the kids ain't gonna know. We're gonna smile in their face and be mad at each other, but they know. And they know when their mother is stressing. Okay, they know that when their mother is having a hard time. I thought that I was hiding a lot from my kids too, but my daughter, she can recall sometimes where she heard me crying.
Wow.
So you have to, before you break down to your bare essentials, before you break down and have nothing else left, you have to take those minutes and fill your cup.
Wow. One thing that my grandmother always said when we were growing up, and even after we first got our jobs, she always said that no matter what you do, whenever you get paid, you're the one that went and worked on that job, whether it was 10 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours. You make sure that you buy yourself something.
Pay yourself first.
Yes. She always said, pay yourself. Make sure if it is not nothing but a pair of socks, have something to show that you got up every day and you went
to work.
Yeah, she always said that, and I believe it's the same instance here.
Yeah.
Why are you because it's not. Most women now are working a job just as the husband or the father's working. They're working the job. They're coming home. They're cooking, they're cleaning, washing, all of that, and then they still making sure the kids' homework is done, making sure everything is done.
We have a lot of double duties,
Exactly.
a lot of triple duties.
Exactly.
So we do deserve that time.
Exactly.
And some parents and some moms feel like, I just can't, my kids need this, the church needs this, my sister needs this, my mama needs, no, what do you need? To me, it's the analogy which I always use, is the airline stewards. They tell you to put the mask on you and then help everybody else. Because you're no good to anybody else if you're suffocating, if you're dying.
Right.
So it's like we know these things, but we just don't, as women, like I said, because we're so innate in taking care of everything and everybody else, that we just don't pay attention to it. And we have to start paying attention to ourselves.
So can you elaborate more on some of the chapters in your book, and what else does the book teach?
So in the book, I decided to write this book because I was having a conversation with my mother, and I knew I wanted to write a book, and I knew I didn't want to do a memoir. I wanted to do something that would be helpful and something that, women can aspire to. And the book is a small book. This is the author copy of it. I know we're on radio and they can't see, but you all can see. This is the author copy of the book right now. And so it's a small book. It's small enough to carry in your purse. It's an easy read. And the beauty about the book that I like is that I asked women from around the world to share their stories. When did you realize the importance of nurturing, inspiring, and loving yourself first? And I have stories from women in Australia, here in the States, in Canada. And like I said, it's not something that we don't know, but you have to take the time and come to that conclusion. And these women share their stories, and they go from one lady, she began to run. That was her time where she had to take care of herself, and she's like, I began to run. And there were a couple ladies in there who shared their stories, and they were on the brink of suicide, because of family issues. There was one lady who was the yes woman for everyone, and they's like, okay, I got to stop. I got to stop because I'm breaking down. So in the book, you will read each chapter, and at the end of each chapter, is one of the women's stories, and then there's a workbook. So I'm gonna have you do some work.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
okay.
I like that because if you work through it.
Yeah. So if you look in there, you can see you have questions, you have space to write, so it gives you room to start to think about it. And I'm not saying that it's the end all be all and all the answers, but it starts to make you think about you. Because I'm not asking you a bunch of stuff about everybody else. I'm asking you about you. What do you like? What makes you happy? What brings you joy? What are you good at? So with nurture, I came up with the three what I like to use for myself, the 3 categories: nurture. So nurture to me is all about nurturing your feelings, nurturing your emotions. How do you feel today? Because the first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is we feel something. And that feeling can set off the rest of your day.
Wow, that's true.
You know? So if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, then you're going to feel like your day is going to be all jacked up for the rest of the day. Okay. So you have to nurture those feelings. And why do you feel that way? Why am I, one morning I woke up and I had a feeling of anxiety. And I really had to sit and think, okay, what did I do yesterday? Why am I waking up feeling anxiety? What did I do yesterday? And what I came to the conclusion was that I did not finish some things yesterday that I wanted to get done, and I was feeling frustrated, and I was feeling down on myself. And then what I did to work through that was accept that, okay, the decision to for whatever reason that I didn't get to finish what I did yesterday, it's okay. I have today to do it. A lot of times we just stress. I didn't get that done. No, just it's okay. Yesterday is gone. Let's start from today. Finish those things that you did, or whatever your feeling is. So nurture that, understand that, and ask yourself why. Why am I feeling this way? And so inspire is really about your dreams and passions. A lot of us women, we put things on the back burner. For me, I wanted to be an actress. Yes, I did.
Wow.
I lived out in Los Angeles and I pursued the acting, but because of the decisions that I made early on when I had my babies, being a single mom, I was in Los Angeles, didn't have a lot of family there, and my kids were small. So I couldn't. Being on the studio set all day, they don't care that you have kids that need to get to school or you got to pick up. They want you on the set for the 16 hours that you need to be on the set. And so I really had to push that dream to the side because I had made some other prior decisions, But it's really all about knowing that it's not too late. It's not too late to start your dream.
Right.
I may not get that role for the 22-year-old, but I'll get it for the 40-year-old.
Exactly.
And so love is really all about loving yourself. And my love category I appreciate the most because that is where we dig in deep. That is where I ask you to get down to your bare essentials. Your bare essentials. And your bare essentials is that moment where you have that ugly cry where it's just you and your God.
Wow.
Okay, well, whatever your God is, Jehovah, Allah, Jesus, Nomyo Rekeyo, whatever your God is. Okay? And we all have that moment. We all have that moment where it's just you and your God and you can break down. Okay, you can break down. So get down to your bare essentials when you're standing in that mirror. And I've had that. I've had it at in my 20s. I've had it in my 30s, and I'm 39 now. And my mother tell me my 40s is going to be the best, so I hope I don't have another bare essential. But I recently had one, and you standing there and you just asking God, who am I? What am I here for? What is my purpose? What was I born to do? What was I? Because we all have that, and we don't know. I think life is a journey, and we're learning that. When you're in high school, they ask you that question, where are you going to be 10 years from now? And we all say the same thing. I'm going to have a big house, 2.5 kids, and a dog.
Right.
I'm going to be married, and, that's what I'm be in my career. And then things don't turn out that way. For me, that was my thought. And then I had a baby at 16 and another baby at 20. And, so things don't always turn out the way that you plan. But you have to understand that things turn out the way that your higher power plans for you. And so what I did with my story and in this book was I took my mess and turned it into my message.
Wow.
So that's what I did with my story. I could wallow in it. I could.
Wow.
I could sit there and say I'm a statistic and, I didn't finish high school. I could have did all that, but I finished high school. I went to college. Even though it took me 20 years to get a 2-year degree, I did it. So I didn't wallow in my story and just sit there and let my mess take over me.
It's funny that you say that because just the other day, one of my statuses on Facebook was that I'm standing up in life. And a lot of times in life, we find ourselves continuing to sit, as you said, in the same mess, only because we get too lazy, we get too comfortable,
content,
we get right in that place. So we'd rather come in, sit in a reclining chair, let the seat back, and stay there instead of learning how to stand up in it. And once you stand up, the next thing is to start walking. So you'll find yourself walking out of your mess unknowingly because any child that starts to stand up, the next step is to make a step.
Absolutely.
So the next step is to make a step. So as long as you stay seated, you're not moving. You're not going to go anywhere. So it's a good thing to learn how not to waddle in your mess, to get up and do something.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you said it. You took the mess that you had made, what had happened, and now you're standing up in it. And not only are you standing up in it, you're empowering other women to learn how to stand up in their mess. Because believe it or not, it's thousands of other women that went through some of the same things that you went through. And if they didn't find someone or have somebody to write a book like this, they would still be in it 20 years down the line. I'm excited that you wrote this book. I'm excited that you're here and that you're ready to empower other women. Can you tell them how they can purchase this book, where they can find you at, how they can follow you on social media, so on and so forth?
Well, you can find me on social media. Just go to SinitaWells.com. That's S as in Sam, I-N as in Nancy, I-T as in Tom, A, Wells, WELLS.com. You can go to SinitaWells.com. It'll connect you to all of my links. I Am a Woman First, probably on everything, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I Am a Woman First. You can find that I Am a Woman First. And you can find me there. And the book on my website, SinitaWells.com, there's a link where you can pre-order the book now if you like to. And then all the pre-orders get autographed copies. And I will have an official birthday bash book signing in November.
Okay. Oh, your birthday's in November. Yes. When will the book actually be released on Amazon?
It is in the last edit. Once you get this copy here, I send in one final edit. I did that, so it should be in the next couple of weeks on Amazon.com.
Okay. And how much will it be?
$14.95.
$14.95.
If you pre-order now, it's only $9.95.
It's only $9.95. I would advise you listeners to pre-order at $9.95 because in a couple weeks, inflation is going to take place, and it's only
going to be $5 more.
$5 more.
That could be $5 just like gas.
That sounds just like gas. And listen, it's worth $9.95. It's worth $14.95 if it's something that's going to help you get out of the place that you're in. And we can all be real honest with each other and say that some of us have been sitting in this same place. Some of us have been sitting in this same position. Some of us have not made any type of move. Matter of fact, we ain't even crawled, let alone stood up in it. We have not even crawled. And this is your opportunity. And look, the second thing about it is I would want to be one of the front runners in obtaining this book, so that when this lady go nationwide, when she go worldwide, when you see her flashing across the screen because she's at the Essence Music Festival and she's at T.D. Jakes conferences, she's at all these other conferences presenting her book, not only presenting her book, but all the books that's to come after this. When you see her sitting on the own network, having her own show like Izana Van Zandt, you'll say, I had her book first. I was one of the first people to read her book. I went through her work. You'll be able to testify for her and let people know that it's something in work, as Anna would say, work the work.
Yes.
And that's what this book, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. So I advise you, I admonish you to get this book. We have like 1 minute left, and I'm going to allow her to give some closing words that would help encourage you, our listeners, on today.
What I would say to you, ladies, moms, CEOs, small business owner, whatever it is that you are, I empower you today. I empower you today to challenge yourself to do something for yourself. It doesn't matter how big, it doesn't matter how small. Just do one thing for yourself. Learn the word no. It's a small word, 2 letters. It's just like it's spelled. Learn to say no sometimes and say yes to yourself.
Wow. Listen, just say no. They was talking about drugs, but some of us need to just say no to some issues like this. You need to learn how to say no to the kids sometimes.
And say yes to you.
That's correct. Say yes. Those small things will make you feel so much better. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in to the Powerful Living Radio Show with your host, the Empowerment Dr. Torri L. Anthony. I look forward to seeing you next week. God bless.
Thank you for having me.